The text came in at 7:43 p.m. while I was finishing dinner. Staying at Jennifer's tonight, don't worry. Simple, direct, like she was telling me she'd grabbed milk from the store. I stared at the message for a moment. My wife had been doing this more often lately, these spontaneous sleepovers with her college friend. At 32, it seemed a bit much, but I figured maybe she needed the girl time. Work had been stressful for both of us. I typed back, okay, have fun, and went back to my leftover pizza. But something felt off. The timing was weird. She'd come home from work, changed clothes, grabbed a small bag, and left within 20 minutes. No real conversation, no mention of plans earlier. Just a quick kiss. I'll be back tomorrow. The house felt different without her there. Quieter, but not in a peaceful way. I tried watching Netflix, but my mind kept wandering. Why hadn't she mentioned these plans this morning? We usually talked about our days over coffee. Around 10:30, I decided to call her. It went straight to voicemail. Probably dead battery, I thought. She was terrible about charging her phone. But then curiosity got the better of me. If she was having a girls' night, maybe I could say hi, see what they were up to. I looked up the number for Jennifer's house. We'd been there for dinner parties before. The phone rang 3 times before Jennifer picked up. Hello. Hey Jennifer, it's me. Is my wife around? I wanted to tell her something quick. There was a pause. A long pause. What do you mean? She's not here. My stomach dropped. What do you mean she's not there? She texted me saying she was staying at your place tonight. I haven't seen her in weeks. We were supposed to get lunch next month, but tonight? No, definitely not. Where is she? The question hung in the air like smoke. Where was she indeed? I'm not sure. Maybe I misunderstood the message. That's weird. Should I call her? No. I'll figure it out. Thanks, Jennifer. I hung up and immediately pulled up the text again. Staying at Jennifer's tonight, don't worry. Black and white. Clear as day. No room for misinterpretation. My wife had lied to me. Boldly, confidently, and without hesitation. I sat there in my living room. The TV still playing some comedy special, but I wasn't laughing. My mind started racing through the past few weeks. The late nights at work. The new perfume. The way she'd started putting her phone face down during dinner. The pieces weren't just falling into place. They were crashing down like a house of cards. I tried calling her again. Voicemail. This time, I left a message. Hey, just called Jennifer's house to chat, but she said you weren't there. Give me a call when you get this. Then I waited and waited. By midnight, still nothing. I opened my laptop and started thinking. If she wasn't at Jennifer's, where was she? And more importantly, how long had this been going on? I pulled up our shared cell phone account online. Call logs, text logs, everything was there. I'd never looked before, never had a reason to. Trust, right? But trust was apparently a luxury I could no longer afford. As I scrolled through the data, patterns started emerging. Calls to numbers I didn't recognize. Texts sent during times she claimed to be in meetings. Long calls late at night when I thought she was asleep next to me. One number appeared frequently. Very frequently. I grabbed my phone and dialed it. Ring, ring, ring. Hello. A man's voice. Deep, confused by the late call. Sorry, wrong number. I said and hung up quickly. But it wasn't a wrong number. It was exactly the right number. The number my wife had been calling and texting for the past 2 months. I leaned back in my chair and let out a long breath. The comedy special was still playing, but nothing about this situation was funny anymore. My wife wasn't at Jennifer's house. She was with him, wherever him was. And tomorrow, when she came home with stories about her girls' night, she'd look me in the eye and lie again. But now I knew, and that changed everything. I closed the laptop and headed to bed, but sleep wasn't coming anytime soon. My mind was already working, already planning. Because if she could lie this easily, this convincingly, then she'd probably been lying about a lot more than just tonight. And I was going to find out exactly how much. I woke up at 6 a.m. sharp, even though I'd barely slept 3 hours. My wife still wasn't home. The first thing I did was check our shared computer. She always left herself logged into everything. Email, social media, cloud storage. Her trust in my lack of curiosity had been absolute. Big mistake. I opened her email first. Nothing obvious in the main folder, but I checked the trash. Bingo. Hotel confirmations. 3 different dates over the past month. All deleted, but still recoverable. The Marriott downtown, the Hampton Inn by the airport, and something called the Grove, a boutique place I'd never heard of. Each reservation was for 2 people. I screenshotted everything and saved it to a folder on my desktop labeled Work Projects. If she ever looked, it would just seem like boring spreadsheets. Next, I checked her social media. Her Instagram had become more active lately. Lots of selfies. But what caught my attention were the locations. She'd been tagging herself at places during work hours, coffee shops across town, restaurants I'd never been to with her. But the real gold mine was her Google Photos backup. Apparently, she didn't know it was syncing to our shared account. Photos from the past 2 months told a story she definitely didn't want me to see. Dinner dates at expensive restaurants, cocktails at rooftop bars, a weekend trip to wine country that supposedly never happened. And in several photos, a shadow, a man's arm, a reflection in windows. Someone was definitely there, just carefully cropped out. My phone buzzed. Text from her. Sorry, fell asleep early. Coming home soon. Love you. I typed back. No worries, take your time. But internally, I was laughing. The sheer audacity was almost impressive. I kept digging. Credit card statements showed charges I didn't recognize. Victoria's Secret purchases she'd never shown me. Expensive dinners for 2 on nights she claimed to be working late. Gas station charges across town when she said she was at the office. The financial trail was clearer than a roadmap. Then I found the real evidence. Buried in her deleted text messages was a conversation thread with someone saved as Work Brad. But Work Brad wasn't discussing quarterly reports. Can't wait to see you tonight. The usual place? He won't suspect anything. I told him I was with Jennifer again. You're terrible, but I love it. Just a few more months, and we can stop sneaking around. My lawyer says 6 months minimum before filing. Worth the wait. I read the entire conversation thread twice. The timestamps matched perfectly with her Jennifer nights. The hotel reservations. The mysterious dinners. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was planning her exit strategy. And apparently, I was funding it. The phone rang. It was her. Hey honey, I'm heading home now. Want me to grab coffee? Her voice was cheerful, completely normal. Like she hadn't spent the night with another man while planning to divorce me. Sure, sounds great. The usual place? Of course. See you in 20 minutes to prepare. 20 minutes to act like I didn't know my entire marriage was a performance. I quickly printed out the most damaging evidence and stored it in my desk drawer at work. Then I deleted my browser history and closed everything on the computer. When she walked through the door with 2 Starbucks cups, she looked exactly like the woman I'd married. Same smile, same kiss on the cheek, same how was your night? Quiet, I said. How was Jennifer? Oh, you know how she is. We stayed up way too late talking about everything. The lie rolled off her tongue so smoothly. I almost admired the technique. What did you guys talk about? Just life stuff. Work drama. Her dating situation. Girl things. More lies, layered on top of the foundation lie. Sounds fun. You should do it more often. She looked surprised by my enthusiasm. Really? I thought you didn't like when I was gone overnight. I trust you completely, I said, taking a sip of my coffee. You should see Jennifer whenever you want. The irony wasn't lost on me, but she just smiled and started talking about her day ahead. As she showered, I made my own plans. First, I needed to secure our finances. She'd already consulted a lawyer, which meant she was further along in this process than I'd realized. I opened my laptop and started transferring money from our joint savings account to my personal checking account. Not all of it. That would be too obvious. But enough to ensure I wouldn't be left with nothing when she decided to pull the trigger. Next, I called my office and scheduled a meeting with HR about my benefits. If divorce was coming, I needed to understand how everything would be affected. Then I did something that felt strange but necessary. I called a locksmith. I need to change the locks on my house, I said. When would you like us to come out? Next Thursday afternoon. That was when she'd told me she had another late meeting planned. Any particular reason for the change? Security upgrade, I said. Better safe than sorry. When she came out of the shower, I was sitting at the kitchen table reading the news on my phone, looking completely normal. I have that client meeting tonight, she said. Might run late again. Client meeting was apparently her new code phrase. No problem. I'll probably work late too. Big project deadline coming up. She kissed my forehead and grabbed her purse. Love you. Love you too. I replied automatically. But as I watched her car pull out of the driveway, I realized those might be the last genuine words we'd ever exchange. Everything from here on out would be strategic. She wanted to play games? Fine. But she was about to learn that I was better at this game than she'd ever imagined. The next few days felt like living in a movie where I knew the ending, but had to keep acting surprised. My wife continued her performance flawlessly, chatting about work, planning weekend activities, even suggesting we book a vacation for next month. A vacation she had no intention of taking with me. I played along while systematically preparing for what was coming. Every morning after she left for work, I'd move a few important items to my brother's garage. Photo albums, important documents, my grandfather's watch, things that couldn't be replaced. Wednesday evening, she announced another Jennifer night. I know I just saw her, but she's going through a rough patch with her job situation, she said, packing her overnight bag. Girl needs support. Of course, I said. Tell her I said hi. The ease of her deception was almost insulting. Did she really think I was that naive? After she left, I drove to the Grove Hotel. Her car was in the parking lot, just like I expected. Room 237, according to the reservation confirmation I'd found. I didn't go inside or make a scene. I just took a photo of her license plate next to the hotel sign and drove home. Evidence collected. Mission accomplished. Thursday arrived like clockwork. She left for her client meeting at 6 p.m. sharp. I waited 30 minutes, then called the locksmith. You're the security upgrade appointment? That's me. While he worked on the locks, I finished boxing up her belongings. Not everything, just enough to make a point. Her favorite clothes, jewelry, makeup, personal items. Everything neatly packed in boxes and stacked by the front door. The locksmith finished around 8 p.m. All set. Here are your new keys. Perfect timing. I spent the evening preparing one final surprise. At my computer, I drafted a detailed letter explaining everything I'd discovered. Hotel receipts, text message screenshots, financial records. A complete timeline of her affair with work, Brad. But the real masterpiece was the ending. A breakdown of how our assets would be divided, what she was entitled to legally, and what she'd actually be getting. Spoiler alert, there was a significant difference. At 11 p.m., exactly as I planned, I called Jennifer's house. Hey Jennifer, it's me again. Sorry to call so late. Oh hi, is everything okay? Well, I'm trying to reach my wife. She said she was staying with you tonight, but she's not answering her phone. Another pause. Longer this time. I hate to tell you this, but she's definitely not here. I'm actually out of town visiting my sister this week. Bingo. Out of town? Since when? Since Monday. I won't be back until Sunday. Perfect. My wife had been using Jennifer as her alibi all week, not knowing Jennifer wasn't even in the state. Thanks, Jennifer. I think we need to talk when you get back. Is everything all right? Not really, but it will be. After hanging up, I placed the letter on the kitchen counter, right where she'd see it first thing. Then I loaded my car with my remaining essentials and drove to the extended stay hotel I'd booked across town. The room was basic but clean. Most importantly, it was mine. No lies, no performances, no pretending everything was fine. I ordered pizza and opened a beer. For the first time in weeks, I felt genuinely relaxed. My phone started buzzing around midnight. Text from her. Staying another night. Jennifer really needs me right now. I didn't respond. More texts came throughout the night. Are you okay? Why aren't you answering? Call me when you get this. I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up refreshed for the first time in months. No walking on eggshells. No wondering what lie I'd hear next. No pretending I didn't know what was really happening. I turned my phone back on. 17 missed calls, 12 voicemails, 23 text messages. The timeline told the story perfectly. The first few messages were casual, normal, then confusion, then panic, then desperation. Because she'd come home to find the locks changed, her belongings boxed up, and the letter waiting on the counter. The letter that started with, Jennifer called looking for you at 11 p.m. last night. Turns out she's been visiting her sister all week. I hope the Grove Hotel Room 237 was worth losing this house, this marriage, and half of everything we built together. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. We need to talk. Her voice was different now. Strained. Desperate. No, we really don't. Please. Let me explain. Explain what? That you've been lying to my face for months? That you've been planning to divorce me while I paid for your hotel rooms with another man? That you've been using Jennifer as your alibi, without even checking if she was in town. Silence. I found all of it. Every hotel receipt, every deleted text message, every lie you told. Your lawyer consultation, your exit strategy, everything. Where are you? Somewhere you'll never find me. And before you ask, yes, I moved our money. What's legally yours will be determined in court. What you actually deserve is a different conversation. This isn't over. Actually, it is. You just don't realize it yet. I hung up and blocked her number. Then I called my own lawyer. Time to get ahead of this legally. I need to file for divorce, I told him. And I have some interesting evidence to share. The best part? She still thought she was in control of the situation. She was about to learn just how wrong she was. The meeting with my lawyer went better than expected. Apparently, adultery still meant something in our state, especially when it involved financial deception and documented evidence of planned asset hiding. She consulted with a divorce attorney while using marital funds to conduct an affair? He asked, reviewing my evidence folder. That's exactly what happened. Hotel rooms, expensive dinners, shopping trips, all on our joint credit card while she planned her exit strategy. This is actually quite favorable for you. Her lawyer consultation shows premeditation, and using marital assets to fund infidelity rarely plays well in court. I left his office feeling vindicated. For months, I felt like something was wrong but couldn't prove it. Now I had proof, legal representation, and a clear path forward. My phone had been buzzing nonstop. She'd moved on to calling from different numbers, trying to catch me off guard. Each voicemail became progressively more desperate. Please call me back. We can work through this. I made a mistake. Everyone deserves a second chance. You can't just disappear like this. We have a mortgage together. That last one almost made me laugh out loud. We had a mortgage together, but she'd been secretly planning to leave me with the entire debt while she started fresh with her new man. The timing was perfect. Her desperation meant she hadn't had time to execute whatever financial strategy she'd been planning. I caught her completely off guard. Saturday morning, I decided to tie up one loose end. I drove past our house, my house now, technically, to see if she was still trying to get inside. Her car was in the driveway. She was sitting on the front steps with her phone pressed to her ear, probably calling another friend to complain about the situation. I parked across the street and watched for a moment. She looked smaller somehow, less confident. The woman who'd been boldly lying to my face for months now looked lost and confused. Good. My phone rang. Jennifer, I just got the strangest call from your wife, she said. Let me guess. She wanted to know what you told me. Exactly. She seemed really upset that I mentioned being out of town. She kept asking what else we talked about. Did you tell her? I told her the truth, that you called looking for her, and I said she wasn't here because I haven't seen her in weeks. She got really quiet after that. I bet she did. What's going on? She sounded panicked. I gave Jennifer the basic version. Her affair, the lies, the hotel receipts, everything. Oh my God. I had no idea she was using me as her cover story. I feel terrible. Don't. You're not responsible for her choices. Is there anything I can do? Actually, yes. If she calls you again, just tell her the truth. Don't cover for her. Don't help her create new lies. Just be honest about what you know and when you knew it. Of course, I can't believe she put me in this position. After hanging up with Jennifer, I realized my wife's entire support network was about to crumble. Her lies hadn't just affected our marriage. She'd been deceiving everyone around her. Sunday evening, I decided to handle one more piece of business. I drove to the office building where she worked and waited in the parking lot. At 6:47 p.m., a BMW pulled up. Middle-aged guy, expensive suit, wedding ring. He got out and walked toward the building entrance. My phone camera was ready. 7 minutes later, my wife emerged from the building. She practically ran to his car, looking around nervously before getting in. I followed them at a distance. They drove to a restaurant downtown, the same place I'd seen charged to our credit card 3 times in the past month. I didn't go inside. I didn't need to. I just took photos of them together and drove home to my hotel room. The pictures were the final piece of evidence my lawyer needed. Clear documentation of the ongoing affair with timestamps and location data. But more importantly, they confirmed what I'd suspected about work Brad. He was married too. Monday morning, I did something that felt both necessary and satisfying. I looked up his address in the company directory and mailed copies of all the evidence to his house. Hotel receipts with both their names, text message screenshots, photos from the restaurant, a complete timeline of their affair. I included a simple note. Thought you should know what your husband has been doing with our joint credit card. A fellow betrayed spouse. Let her explain that to her boyfriend's wife. My lawyer called Tuesday afternoon. We need to move quickly. I just received a call from opposing counsel. She's filed her own divorce petition. Already. Apparently, she hired a new lawyer over the weekend. Someone more aggressive than her original consultation. They're claiming irreconcilable differences and asking for temporary spousal support. After what she did, that's why we need to file our counterpetition immediately. Adultery, financial deception, and emotional distress. We're asking for compensatory damages and attorney fees. How long will this take? With this level of evidence? 3 months, maybe 4. She can't fight what's documented in black and white. That afternoon, I received a text from an unknown number. We need to talk face to face. Please. I knew it was her, using yet another phone to try to reach me. I typed back, talk to my lawyer. All communication goes through him now. Please don't do this. I love you. The audacity was breathtaking. She loved me so much that she'd been planning to divorce me while sleeping with another man for months. You love me so much you used our credit card to pay for hotel rooms with your boyfriend? You love me so much you've been lying to my face every single day? That's not love. That's selfishness. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. And now his wife knows too. 3 minutes of silence. Then, what do you mean his wife knows? I mean, I sent her copies of everything. Hotel receipts, your text messages, photos of you two together. She deserved to know what kind of man she married. You had no right. I had every right. Just like she had the right to know her husband was using their money to cheat on her. My phone went silent after that. Wednesday morning, my lawyer called with an update. Interesting development. Her boyfriend's wife filed for divorce yesterday. Apparently, she'd been suspicious for months but didn't have proof until now. Good for her. It gets better. She wants to coordinate our cases. Her husband's been hiding assets too, and she has evidence that could help both situations. How does that help me? Your wife's boyfriend is about to lose half his assets and pay significant alimony. His ability to support your wife's lifestyle is about to disappear completely. So her backup plan just fell apart. Exactly. She's about to realize she destroyed 2 marriages and gained nothing. For the first time since this whole situation started, I smiled genuinely. Justice wasn't just being served. It was being served with a side of poetic irony. The next 2 weeks were a masterclass in watching someone's entire world collapse in real time. It started with her job. Apparently, having an affair with a married colleague while both of you are going through public divorces creates what HR calls a hostile work environment. By Thursday, she was on administrative leave pending an investigation. Her boyfriend lasted exactly 3 days longer. Corporate policy about workplace relationships became suddenly very important when the CEO's wife started asking questions about liability. My lawyer kept me updated on the legal proceedings. Her counsel is requesting mediation. They want to settle out of court. What are they offering? 50-50 split of assets, no alimony, and she walks away quietly. And what are we asking for? 70-30 split in your favor. She pays your attorney fees, and a non-disclosure agreement preventing her from discussing the marriage publicly. She's not going to agree to that. She will when she realizes the alternative. Her boyfriend's wife is being very cooperative with our investigation. It turns out your wife wasn't his first affair. The evidence kept mounting. Financial records showed a pattern of deception going back almost a year. Hotel charges, expensive gifts, weekend trips I'd never known about. She'd been living a completely double life while I paid for both versions. Friday afternoon, Jennifer called with an update. She came to my office today, just showed up without calling. What did she want? She wanted me to call you and tell you that I'd been confused about my travel dates. That maybe I was home that night after all. She wanted you to lie for her. Exactly. She offered to pay me to change my story. The desperation was reaching new levels. She was trying to rebuild her house of lies after the foundation had already crumbled. What did you tell her? I told her I wouldn't perjure myself to save her marriage. She didn't take it well. I bet not. She said some pretty nasty things about you. Called you controlling and manipulative. Said you'd been emotionally abusive for years. The rewriting of history had begun. Suddenly, I was the villain in her version of events. Did you believe her? Not for a second. I've known you both for years. You're one of the most straightforward people I know. If you were really controlling, you wouldn't have trusted her enough to let her have all those girls' nights in the first place. Saturday morning brought the most interesting development yet. My lawyer called with news. Her boyfriend's wife wants to meet with you. Why? She has information about your wife that you need to hear. Apparently, this affair has been going on longer than we thought. I met her at a coffee shop downtown. She was professional, composed, and carrying a thick folder of documents. I've been investigating my husband's activities for 8 months, she said. Your wife wasn't his first affair, but she was definitely the most expensive. She opened the folder and showed me credit card statements from her husband's account. Charges dating back almost a year. Jewelry stores, high-end restaurants, weekend getaways, even a spa day package for 2. He was funding her entire lifestyle while she was married to you. Look at these dates. I looked. The charges corresponded perfectly with times my wife had claimed to be working late or visiting her mother. There's more, she continued. Text messages I recovered from his old phone. They weren't just planning to leave their spouses. They were planning to move across the country together. She showed me screenshots of conversations about job applications in Seattle, apartment searches, even discussions about changing their names. They had a complete escape plan. New city, new identities, fresh start. Your wife was going to disappear and take half your assets with her. The scope of the deception was staggering. This wasn't just an affair. It was an elaborate con game designed to destroy 2 marriages and steal 2 people's life savings. Why are you showing me this? Because she ruined my life, and she was about to ruin yours. I want her to face consequences for what she's done. What kind of consequences? Criminal charges. What they did meets the legal definition of conspiracy to commit fraud. Using your joint credit card to fund their escape plan while lying about her intentions in the marriage. I stared at the evidence. Hotel rooms, flights, apartment deposits in Seattle, all funded with money from both our marriages while they planned their great escape. My lawyer says we have enough evidence for criminal charges if we coordinate our cases. Criminal charges? Fraud, conspiracy, theft by deception. She could face actual jail time. The irony was perfect. She'd been so careful to document everything, thinking she was planning the perfect crime. Instead, she'd created a perfect case against herself. Sunday evening, my wife made one last desperate attempt at contact. She showed up at my hotel. I watched from my window as she knocked on doors, asking desk clerks for my room number. Hotel security eventually escorted her from the property. My phone rang 5 minutes later. Unknown number. I know you're watching me. I'm not watching you. I'm avoiding you. We can still fix this. What we had was real. What we had was a lie. You were planning to steal half my money and disappear to Seattle with your boyfriend. That's not a marriage. That's a long-term theft operation. Silence. How did you? His wife has been documenting everything for months. Apartment applications, job searches, travel arrangements. Your entire escape plan is documented. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. You were going to clean out our accounts, file for divorce, take the settlement money, and disappear with him to start over across the country. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're a thief who got caught. The only question now is whether you want to handle this in civil court or criminal court. I hung up before she could respond. Monday morning brought the final piece of the puzzle. Her boyfriend's wife called with an update. He cracked, told his lawyer everything. The Seattle plan, the financial arrangements, even a timeline for when they were going to file for divorce simultaneously. What does that mean for our cases? It means your wife's lawyer is going to recommend she take whatever deal you're offering. Fighting this in court would be financial suicide. And criminally, that's up to you. The prosecutor says he'll pursue charges if you want to press them. I thought about it for exactly 30 seconds. Let's see what kind of deal she agrees to first. If she wants to fight this, we'll give her a fight she'll never forget. And if she takes the deal, then maybe she'll learn that actions have consequences without needing a criminal record to remind her. But honestly, I was hoping she'd choose to fight. Because watching her world collapse had been satisfying, but watching her face real consequences would be justice. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. She took the deal. 70-30 assets split in my favor. She paid my attorney fees, no alimony, and a non-disclosure agreement that prevented her from spinning her own version of events publicly. Her boyfriend lost everything in his own divorce. His wife got the house, the cars, and 70% of his retirement fund. The Seattle escape plan died with his financial capacity to fund it. My ex-wife ended up in a studio apartment across town, working retail to pay her legal bills. Her corporate career was over, Word travels fast in professional circles about workplace affairs and fraud investigations. The criminal charges were dropped after she accepted the civil settlement, but the threat of them had been enough to ensure she didn't fight the terms. I kept the house, most of our savings, and my dignity intact. More importantly, I kept the evidence. All of it. Insurance against any future attempts to rewrite history. 3 months after the divorce was final, Jennifer told me she'd seen my ex-wife at the grocery store. Apparently, she'd tried to approach Jennifer to explain her side of the story. Jennifer's response was perfect. There's only one side to the story that matters. The true side. And I already know that one. Her former boyfriend moved back in with his parents after his own divorce settlement. Last I heard, he was delivering food for DoorDash to make ends meet. The poetic justice was beautiful. They destroyed 2 marriages trying to fund their fantasy life together and ended up losing everything they'd worked to steal. As for me, I bought a new car with cash from my settlement money. Took a vacation to Europe that I'd always wanted, but she'd never been interested in. Started dating again when I was ready. The best part wasn't the money or the house or even the vindication. It was the peace of mind. No more wondering if I was being lied to. No more walking on eggshells around someone's secret agenda. No more funding someone else's deception with my own hard work. I learned something valuable from the whole experience. Trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. But self-respect, once reclaimed, becomes unshakable. She'd wanted to play games with my life, my marriage, and my money. Instead, she played herself right out of everything she'd ever had. The note I'd left on the kitchen counter that night had been prophetic. I hoped the real address was worth losing this one. Turns out, it wasn't worth anything at all. Game over. I won.
예, 여러분들 제가 말했잖아요. 일어날 일을 일어난다. 예, 어차피 될 사람이 된다. 난 분명히 얘기했어. 예. 저도 어제 너무 피곤해가지고 그냥 DB 잤거든요. 예. 몸도 안 좋고 해가지고 좀 DB 잤는데 일어나고 딱 유튜브 보니까 역시나 예. 역시 이재명이 대통령이 됐구나. 예. 역시 나구나. 예. 진짜 항상 내가 말하지만 역시는 역시예요. 예. 역시는 역시고 일어날 일 일어난다. 예. 뭐, 뭐, 우리나라가 뭐 크게 바뀌진 않겠지만, 예.